Hey, what's up? It's Comic95, the Savior. And before you rip on me about this, I want to first and foremost start off by saying this is my own personal opinion. These are not facts. These are not, I don't even know how to explain it. I'm not necessarily trying to persuade you or make you believe a certain thing or put you at risk. I'm not responsible for you or your health or what you choose to do in your family. And I also want to remind you, your family, your friends, your state, your country is not the entirety of the world. I'm speaking to you from my own personal, perspective, based on my experiences, the people that I live around, the country that I'm in, the city that I'm in, what I've read, what I've seen, etc. I've done a lot of research, I've watched a lot of videos, I've read a lot of articles, I've listened to a lot of people. I have friends who are actual, physicians in the medical field, etc., as well as my mother. And I'm working on that myself, for those of you that do not know. I also have a semi-background with a little bit of medical stuff myself before university. So, again, I'm not a professional, I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert. Now that we have that out of the way, and now that you understand this video is my opinion, I want to talk about the coronavirus. Now, I've made a video about this before, but this is a little bit different now that we've had more time to understand what's going on and things have drastically changed, the numbers have skyrocketed, etc. I will say in a nutshell that I don't believe it's really that bad. And before you get on me for that, girl, look at how many people are infected, how many deaths there have been, etc. I am not going to say that it's comparable to something like the flu, but I don't believe that it is what we've been told that it is. And the reason being is I look at the country that I live in. I'm not one of those Japan worshippers. I literally have a YouTube video complaining about people that are so stuck up Japan's ass and worship the country so much that you can't critique it without being told, oh, go back to your home country. If you don't like it, change it. That's because you don't speak Japanese. Japan is homogenous, blah, blah, blah. This is not one of those videos. But instead, they kind of have a point. Now, Japan is not taking the approach that I am, but rather they're doing something that's making me believe what I do. Japan has done literally nothing in regards to the coronavirus. They did not impose a lockdown, state of emergency, whatever they called themselves trying to pull off, until literally a month ago. As of the recording of this video, today is May 20th. So literally almost 2 months ago, they made a semi-lockdown in which, they did their little state of emergency and asked for restaurants, stores, etc., non-essential services to close down. But this terminology was very vague, and unlike in the US, as you guys have already read about and seen, they cannot allegedly legally make us, have a legitimate lockdown. They can only shame you, encourage you, etc., which nobody has really been shaming anyone for going out in Japan. And honestly, I've even been guilty of going out myself. I haven't really changed my life too much. I have been inside more because most places simply aren't open, but I still go hang out with my friends, date, etc. I know it's bad, but I'm being honest. I could sit here and lie to you and pretend like I'm not doing anything. I'm just working from home. But that would not be true. So, anyway, my thing is Japan has done nothing. A lot of the stores are open, restaurants, bars, etc. You can still eat and dine at most of these places. The only places that have truly closed down are American places, believe it or not. Places like Starbucks, Bubba Gump Shrimp, Outback Steak, and, McDonald's, things like that, Wendy's. You can no longer eat inside. You can only use them, through their delivery services that they have or through Uber Eats and other delivery, services like that. That's pretty much all that's offered as far as American companies go. Even with American brands, their clothing stores, etc., have generally closed down for the entirety of this semi-state of emergency / weird lockdown thing. Now, before I bash Japan, I will also say I'll give them credit where it's due. They were one of the first countries to shut down schools, or at least try to in certain areas. For example, in both Osaka and Tokyo, starting at the end of February, or at least in Osaka, starting from February 27th, I believe, that was the last day of school, even for my school, and I work at a private international school. So they were 2 steps ahead of everybody with that. But from that point, they just slumped and stopped caring, really. And what I mean by stop caring is that they, I guess, got scared and saw, oh my God, like, we're already losing money. There's already no tourists really coming in. I read something that said there were only like 16 or 17 tourists. Excuse that lawnmower thing. I was going to stop the video, but whatever. There was only like 16, 17 tourists coming into the country every day in comparison to what was like, I don't remember if it was thousands or 100,000s, whatever it was. I think it was in the thousands. Okay, I give up. Thousands of people basically coming in. It dropped significantly, like more than 90%. Or so I read. I believe it was from an article by Japan Today. How credible that is or not, I have no idea. But that sounds about right. People were afraid to travel at this point. But it was not entirely banned. People were still able to leave their country. It's just that, there were now quarantine requirements. We had to be 14 days in quarantine, and everything pretty much changed. So that pretty much got rid of tourists. There were rumors about, visas no longer being renewed for Chinese and Koreans here. And I don't know how factual this stuff is. I'm just going based off of what I read and what I saw. And it appeared to have been an issue because when I went to immigration to renew my visa, I did notice an unusual amount of people there. And in particular, pretty much all Asians at that, specifically Chinese and Korean people. So off of that, it did change how everything was going around here. I literally had people come up to me and talk to me and ask me, why was I still here? Why was I still here? Was I stuck here? I had somebody from a news agency actually do an interview with me and was trying to figure out, why am I still in Japan, etc. And I'm like, I work here and I'm not afraid of this crap. Like, go back home to the US where they're still having the same issue. Like, doesn't make any sense. So anyway, they did good, in my opinion, for shutting down schools, which people thought was kind of crazy and extreme, and a big deal was being made out of it. But, before we knew it, other countries, jumped on and started doing the same thing, whereas Japan was debating reopening schools again and starting the school year as usual. Now, some schools did already get started, but of course, the majority of them had not started yet. And with that said, it caused a lot of issues. People were kind of waiting, like, is school going to start on Monday? Is it not going to start? And then, of course, we got, notified that it was going to be state of emergency, no school. And that this time, not only would the kids be out of school, but we would be encouraged to, forgot the word, work from home, basically. Which, of course, not all businesses are able to do that because some jobs, you kind of have to physically be there in order to do the work. And it's kind of hard for people that aren't really prepared, don't really use a lot of computer stuff. Despite what you see on TV, Japan is not technically advanced. America is a million steps ahead of Japan. They still use fax machines here. Everything's super old-fashioned here. And there's lots of people that actually don't know how to use computers. A lot of computer illiteracy exists. My assistant teacher does not know how to use computers, guys. That's all a whole nother story. But, there was a lot of, stuff that was going on and people kind of freaked out. But while the number of tourists are pretty much gone and the number of people going out significantly dropped, where trains are pretty much empty, people got this false illusion that Japan was handling and tackling this coronavirus situation, when really all they did was scare people to stay inside. Closed down most places, but a lot of people are still going out every day to work. Trains are still crowded in the morning, still crowded in the evening. People are not social distancing. You can't hear. It's too crowded on trains. It's too crowded when walking down halls, on sidewalks, etc. People are more cautious about being close to people and are acting more funny and are more, when somebody coughs or sneezes, but they're not acting too different than how they previously did. Not to mention, again, it's not possible to really social distance in Japan. You live in a 2x2 house. There's no ventilation inside of your home. They have opened up, the windows on the trains. But again, there's only small things that have been taking place. People still freely go out to eat and drink on the weekends and in the evening. During Golden Week, I literally went on a date. And as we were walking down the street, we literally saw cafes packed with people, back to back, table to table. And it's so funny because no one's getting on this country about this. And then not just that, people have this false illusion that masks, I guess, cannot get dirty, just like how their hands apparently can't either. Japanese people do not fucking wash their hands. There's no hot water here. Most places do not have soap. And on top of that, people reuse their masks for days and even weeks. Yes, people, I'm not exaggerating. So you'll literally go out, my friends even will go out to eat. They'll put their mask in their pocket, drop it on the floor, put it on the table, touch it with dirty hands, pick their nose, dig in their ear, and then just pick up their mask again. And this is dirty in general, just because it's typical cross-contamination. Your hands are filthy, but now there's a virus going around. You don't know if you touched the surface that had it, and now your hand has been on your mask, and the whole situation is super messy. Not to mention, a lot of people don't properly wear their masks. They have them just covering their mouth, or they're only, partially covering their nose because they don't want their glasses to fog up, and there's all kind of, weird, crazy things going on with this. And again, like the biggest thing about the hand washing and coughing and sneezing, Japanese, it's not just specific to Japanese people. I'm not trying to get on them. I love Japan. I hate to have to even say this. And same thing goes for my Asian viewers, but I just have to be real. Hand washing, coughing, sneezing, general cleanliness manners that we have in the US to avoid the sounding racist, they do not exist in the east side of the world. Asia does not practice these things. It is socially acceptable to take a shit and not wash your hands. Let me rephrase that. Take a piss. People normally do use soap and water after taking a poop. But again, cold water and soap is give or take if it's available. When I say wash your hands, I mean literally done. Not even 10 seconds. People don't give a crap. It's not a one-person thing. It's literally standard average. In the US, normally if someone else is in the restroom, you feel, even if you're the dirtiest person, you'll feel socially obligated to wash your hands. Maybe do it a little longer. Use some more soap because somebody's watching you. Just being real. In Japan, no, they don't give a crap. It's like nobody washes their hands. You go in the bathroom, go straight out. They don't care about cleaning off toilet seats, etc. Like, this is regular, everyday Japan stuff. So like you've noticed small things like now people are avoiding touching, the escalator handles, but people always avoided touching the stairway, like the rails there. So that's nothing new. But anyway, my point is they're not clean people. So people have this illusion, both Japanese people and foreigners, that the numbers are low in Japan because they're so clean. They've been wearing masks since forever. Wearing a mask does no good when you put it in your pocket, put it on the floor, put it on the seat, drop it, etc., and put it back on your face and reuse it. It also doesn't do any good when you never wash your hands, except when you take a shower once a day. Like, that's not, excuse that, like, jackhammer drill thingy going on outside, but that's not helping you or anything. If you're barely washing your hands, you're barely, keeping a clean mask on your face, etc. So all of that stuff, cross-contamination, germs, no hot water. Like, people don't even have hot water in their homes in some cases, in your bathroom. Not in your bathroom, but in your kitchen, for example. At one of my old apartments, I said this before, there was no hot water in my kitchen. If I needed hot water, I had to go to my bathroom. And my bathroom didn't even have that hot of water. The tank didn't get that hot. So the hot water there was more like warm water. It was more than lukewarm. It was warm, but it wasn't like hot. My current apartment has boiling hot water where it can literally like heat up stuff like coconut oil as though I microwaved it. So yeah, it's not possible to do these measures, which is also why they have not been talking so much about what kind of water to use when washing your hands. Instead, the advice is wash your hands, sing these stupid songs that nobody sings. So get that idea out of your mind. It has nothing to do with the country being clean and practicing stuff. It has nothing to do with people practicing social distancing. You do see less people out, but it's mainly because a lot of jobs are not asking their employees to work from home. Thus, you need to physically be at home in front of your computer. Kind of hard to be in front of your computer when you're walking down the street and partying at, a bar, a club, etc. Once again, there are still clubs that are open, bars are still open, restaurants still open, not just open to take out stuff, but to dine, to party, to go out. Also, they've had these dumb rules where people have been told, try to avoid going out on the weekends. So the coronavirus only comes out at night and on the weekend. Like, there's a lot of people that really believe if I just go to and from my job, even although I'm on this packed train, walking down these, aisles and whatnot and through these hallways, for minutes and hours and going up and down stairs and touching these rails and eating food at, my favorite curry and ramen shop, there's no way I'm going to get the coronavirus because I go straight home before 6 p.m. Like, what? And even on the weekend. And then people have really just been on the hunt finding places that are open, and they'll go to wherever's open. And again, I'm not trying to criticize them. I'm guilty too. But this is all leading up to my point. Is the coronavirus really as bad as we think it is? Is it possible to become immune to it, to build up, our system where we can, I don't know if you call it antibodies or whatever, but basically become, immune to it or self-vaccinate. I can't even think of the words to use, guys. I know I sound stupid. Somebody help me in the comments. But it makes me question all of this. If Japan has done literally nothing, nothing at all, they've done pretty much no testing, they've closed pretty much nothing, they have not punished anyone, they've pretty much left it up to you as the employer and as the worker or whatever, do you want to go to school or not? The kids in my neighborhood are actually already in school, and the lockdown has not even been lifted for Osaka yet, as of the making of this video. By the time you see this, it probably would have been lifted because it's already the end of May. They're expecting it to be over the last day of May, meaning school can start, first week of June. But a lot of these schools were still going on even after they asked for schools to shut down because they wanted money, especially these international schools. So with that said, if kids are still going to school, people are still going to work, you can still go to restaurants, dine, etc. Not everyone's wearing a mask, and the ones that are, their masks are dirty and contaminated, and you have to take them off to eat anyway. So if you're in a crowded restaurant, people cough, sneeze, etc. They don't wear gloves when they prepare your food in Japan. People cough over food in Japan. Again, covering your mouth, hand, arm, they don't do that here. When people cough, it's literally just like that. I'm not exaggerating, not saying it to be racist. Live in Japan. And before some Japanese person or a fake Japanese person tries to comment and say, oh, look, that's not true, I do like this, for some strange reason, anytime you critique Japan or Japanese people and stuff, not only does some foreigner or fake Japanese person come to the comments to save the day, there are sometimes occasionally an actual Japanese person. Even my friends, when I question them about stuff, they are completely oblivious and they have no idea what you're talking about. For example, whenever I've asked people that both I've dated and that I'm friends with, why don't you guys wash your hands when you go to the bathroom? I've never gotten a clear answer. They always say, I do wash my hands. Like, no, you don't. I literally just saw you come out the bathroom and you didn't wash your hands. And so they'll do it like if you catch them in the act. But if you come back to them later and say, make a general blanket statement, not in a racist way, but just being real, it's a cultural difference. They don't find a need to wash their hands after coming out the bathroom. I don't understand why. I want to ask them, why don't they wear gloves? That's my next question I should ask. I personally worked in 2 different restaurants. In neither place that I worked at were we either required to wash our hands or to wear gloves. It was kind of assumed that you wash your hands, but I literally had a coworker, I said this before, go take out the trash, come back inside and start making salad and cutting up vegetables. And there were rats out there in that dumpster. I saw them with my own 2 eyes. I've taken out the trash at that restaurant before. So I'm just thinking okay, yeah. Like even our restaurants like Starbucks, McDonald's, Wendy's, etc., the staff there do not wear gloves. Things could have possibly changed now because of course restaurants have made little changes. Grocery stores have too, which honestly, these changes should have been there. They should have always had protective coverings at bakeries and, plastic baggies to make sure that nobody's put their hands on the bread you're going to buy, like things like that. But better late than never. But realistically, these are things that didn't previously exist in Japan. So again, all of this stuff going on, all of this crazy stuff, all of these things Japan is not doing. But yet their numbers, even if you don't believe the number of people that have the virus, because honestly, I don't believe the numbers. I believe there's way more people that have it because they've avoided testing people. They've pretty much tested nobody. And honestly, I believe I was misdiagnosed with pneumonia. It's possible that I could have had it. I have no idea. The only thing that makes me think I didn't have it is I did graduation. I saw my students, my kids, my parents, my coworkers, and nobody got sick from me. So apparently I didn't have it. So I don't know. But anyway, yeah, nothing is really being done with all of this stuff. No testing. But what you cannot lie about is the deaths. There has not been an unusual amount of deaths. In fact, if anything, if I recall, I saw an article recently that was saying that there's actually been less people that have died compared to last year during this time. So unless they're also hiding bodies, which is crazy as Japan might be, I don't believe that. People are not dying from it. And Japan suffers from an aging population. And with all of these things considered, the fact that no one's really hygienic here. Let me rephrase that because that's racist. People don't clean themselves like how they should here in comparison to my home country. And nothing has really closed here. Testing is not really done here. But people are not really dying here. So now with that in consideration, what exactly is going on? There has to be something to it. If they're not testing people are not really practicing social distancing, people are not washing their hands, everyone is not wearing a mask, the ones that are wearing masks are wearing dirty ones, we're pretty much out of Lysol, hand sanitizer, etc. We don't have the liberty or freedom that America has. When you guys run out of stuff, you get a new Walmart delivery truck the next day. When Japan runs out of something, it's gone forever. Stores already have low stocks and quantities of things. You cannot go to the store and say, hey, I want cookies, and have 50 different kinds to choose from. Either you're going to eat Oreos or you're going to eat those shitty chocolate chip cookies that they sell everywhere. It's like 2 or 3 options for everything. You want toilet paper? There's 2 different brands to choose from. Either you get Kleenex or you get Scott. You get, 3 different options for each brand, maybe 6 brands, 6 different kinds of toilet paper altogether, 2 to 3 of each product. That's it. All it takes is for 10 customers to come in and everything is sold out like that. And when they'll get more in stock, you have no idea. Because generally, daily deliveries are only made of things they expect to run out on a day-to-day basis. A lot of people here do have washlets, so toilet paper wasn't a big deal. I'm just using it as an example of, why this whole hand sanitizer, etc. thing has been a big deal. A lot of stores, impose new measures where you could only buy 1 pack of masks or buy, 1 thing of toilet paper, which toilet paper is back under control, but masks are still an issue. And to be honest, I think it will be hard to obtain a mask for quite some time. I think a lot of people are going to be paranoid about this. I think it's going to change the world, similar to how 9/11 did. It changed the way that we fly. Now we always have to go through metal detectors and take off shoes, and people are afraid of Muslims, and you look at people a certain way, and there's a lot going on. So anyway, this isn't to fearmonger or to say Japan is doing the best at this. All I'm saying is, after having been here during this pandemic and still being here in Japan and still being alive and seeing where other people are living and not so many deaths, it makes me wonder, is all of this really paying off? Like seriously, is it really paying off? I know somebody's going to say, oh, my such and such died. My aunt has coronavirus and is battling and fighting for her life in the hospital. This is not denying the existence of the virus. We know it's real. I'm studying to become a nurse. My mother is an RN in the US. I know. I don't need you to tell me Captain Obvious. But what I am saying is that I don't believe it is as bad as people are making it seem. I feel like I hate to compare it to stuff, and I said I wasn't going to do this, but honestly, it does kind of seem like it's more like pneumonia or the flu, just without a vaccination. And pneumonia doesn't have a true vaccination, but it does have a way, at least not to my knowledge, it has a way to be contained and treated with, I believe, antibiotics or whatever. I've had it 3 times in my life, at least twice, I believe, where I know for a fact I had it and it was formally diagnosed, and I took medication and was hospitalized for it, both as a baby and as an adult here in Japan. But I feel like it's comparable to that. I feel like it gives you pneumonia-like symptoms, which causes people to feel like they're dying because they've never had pneumonia before. And I know from experience, when I had pneumonia, I felt like I was dying too. And I also had to be put on, what are they called, respirator or whatever. I needed oxygen. I had to take medication. I was kept overnight at the hospital. I've been there, done that, trust me. And I'm also young, so I know that my situation was very different. But I feel like it's useless to be afraid of something and paranoid about something that you have no control over. Being afraid, staying inside. And again, my opinion, it's not changing anything. The virus still exists. And honestly, if anything, you're ensuring that if you do get it, your body is not going to be immune to it, not to react to it, whatever. I think it was herd immunity, whatever they called it. I guess Japan does have it because people are not doing any of the crap that Japan is trying to make the country seem like they're doing. And I'll also say this too, Japan has also taken the easy way out of this, just like how they did with the war. I know, you're like, girl, you're going too far, but no, I'm going to say it. People get on Germany about their involvement with, Nazis and this, that, and the other with the Jews, but it's like, Japan was right there supporting them, and they just made anime and took the easy way out, and nobody ever talks about that. Japan has a lot of, war crimes they committed with China and Korea, which they deny, gave a little money. I don't know what's really going on. But again, they've kind of taken the easy way out. That stuff doesn't get talked about much outside of Asia. But once again, the issue that I have is that people got on the U.S. for not doing testing, and Japan still isn't doing testing months later. They're one of the first countries to have a high number of infections, more than the U.S. at the time, and nobody's saying anything. I'm not someone to believe in all those conspiracies and stuff, but I do kind of feel weird about this whole coronavirus thing. Like, it seems like it came out of nowhere. I don't trust China and their numbers and data. For example, I don't know what's really going on, but I don't even know, about China, in Vietnam. I don't believe what we're being told about this virus. I don't believe that they're purposefully trying to harm us necessarily, at least not the US or even Japan or like European countries. But I do believe that, again, not trying to encourage people to go outside. I don't personally, my 2 cents, believe that there's any true evidence that staying inside has decreased the numbers anywhere. Even with people staying inside, there still has to be places open because we have to get food. We have to go to the hospital for other things. People give birth. Stuff in life still goes on and happens. We have places that should not be open that are being classified as essential. People are able to order and buy stuff that they don't need right now, such as through Amazon, to pass time and keep people sane. People are still having parties and meeting up, etc. And it's still spreading. So it doesn't matter where you are, you can still get it, whether it's passed on through someone else, etc. And for that reason, it's like, I don't see how this is helping anything. It's just damaging the economy, and I hate to sound like a Trump supporter or whatever, but this is not politics. I'm just being real. I don't see how there's any proof, or that there is, that this is really slowing down anything. We've been told about, the curve, flatten the curve, do this, do that, have celebrities talk and stupid singing, etc. And while there have been fun times and good things that have come out of this and stuff on Instagram, and I talked about how I even personally benefited from this by receiving money and getting second chances and new job opportunities and this, that, and the other, but this isn't about me or my benefits. I just really don't see that anything's changing. There has been no curve flattening. We've been told about this months ago. And each month's like, another month. Okay, now cancel summer. We're not going to start up until, September. Maybe it's going to take us 2 years. And not to say that, this will never go away, but I don't believe the solution is going to be staying at home. I just don't. I can't. It's not realistic. We're human beings. We can't stay inside of our houses forever. We're social. We need to get outside. The computer is not the same. We need to shop. We need to have parties. We need to have fun. We need to socialize, hug, touch, kiss, have sex, etc. We cannot stay inside of our homes for the rest of our life and be paranoid and eating peanut butter and ramen. And people need to work. I cannot imagine being someone that has lost their job and possibly doesn't qualify for unemployment, that was just living off of that $1,200 check from, 2 months ago. That's not realistic. It's not going to help people. It's not going to work for people. And this new way of life is not a real way of living. It's not a good life. So again, I hate to sound selfish, ignorant, whatever, which I know you're going to be like, you already do. Girl, you lost me, whatever. That's fine. This is my own opinion. But again, I'm basing it off of something. I live somewhere where guidelines of social distancing, staying at home, have not truly been followed. And even the people that are social distancing with their work, they still go out, party, date, have fun, do whatever, get on the train and do regular stuff they don't need to do every day. So while sure, you're not commuting to work, but you're still going out to that izakaya with your friends and having a party. And that, it defeats the purpose. People also have this wrong idea where, for example, my own job. Okay, it's dangerous, the coronavirus. Instead of having a meeting for 2 hours, let's make it 30 minutes so we're all close together inside of this little boxed room. Because apparently the coronavirus only kicks in after 2 hours. That's not the way that this works. But again, since they have managed to, I won't say keep the numbers low, because I do believe the numbers here are a lie. You cannot lie about that. How are the deaths low? Now, unlike a country like China, this is not to get on China, but just being real, we don't have any thermal stuff picking up bodies being burned, and secret, sketchy ambulances picking up patients, and vloggers going missing and ended up in prison. So I don't believe Japan is lying about deaths. So I can go on and on forever about this, but at the end of the day, I feel really weird about this. I don't know what I truly think, but if I have to give my 2 cents, that was unwanted, but that's why it's my channel, my video, my opinion. Like I said, I'm no expert. I'm going based on my own life. I don't see how this is benefiting anyone to stay inside. I don't see how businesses closing down is really changing anything. I feel like this is no different than any typical case of pneumonia or the flu. I know I said I wasn't going to say that, but I did. where it's contagious. And if somebody gets it, yeah, you can die from it. It's a strain of it going around. But I don't feel like that should change everyone's life permanently and force people to be poor and depressed and suicidal and get abused, etc. because of that. So I don't see how this is helping anyone. I don't believe there's any factual information. Nobody has been through a pandemic like this before. So even the experts that are talking on this, they're guessing. They're guessing what they think is going to work. And as we've already seen, they've been wrong. They thought the curve was going to be flattened a long time ago. They thought that it only, showed these symptoms. They thought you didn't need a mask. They thought that you had to be, you had to have these symptoms. Now we find, you could be asymptomatic or whatever. So there's all of these different things and all this information that has changed. And it's like you don't really know who to trust or who to believe. Again, let me clarify, I'm not encouraging you to run out and do whatever you want and party and have fun and don't give a crap. But I will say, I don't believe that staying at home is changing anything. I don't think it's helping to stop the numbers going up. I don't believe, and even then, I feel like as we've seen in the US, the numbers are only going to go down because you're encouraging people to not get tested. Because even in the US, while they have tested a lot, one, it's hard to get tested still. And two, even if you do and or can get tested, a lot of people are paranoid about finding out they even have it and would rather stay at home. I literally have a friend in the US who is working right now as a nurse, might I add. And she is afraid to get tested because if she gets tested and turns out that she's positive, despite the fact that she's a nurse, she does not have health insurance and her job would not be paying her for the time that she's not physically at work. Therefore, while it is totally bogus, I know, that's why I'm not going to say this friend's name. She's a friend of mine. She does not want to get tested. She doesn't believe she has it, but she doesn't want to get tested to even check to see if she does, even though she had the opportunity, because if she does have it, now that means being unemployed, jobless, no money. Why would you want that? And so while everyone's situation is not necessarily that bad, or even if she's not jobless, unemployed for the time being, or not getting money for the time being, why would you want that? So there's so much craziness going on right now. And again, I don't want you to purposefully, not follow the authority and listen to the rules. You need to do whatever your country is requiring you to do. My country has pretty much lifted theirs everywhere, with the exception of a couple of cities. I'm living in one that has not had those, state of emergency lifted, but it's going to next week, basically. And while I don't necessarily think that's a good idea, I don't believe that the state of emergency has benefited anything. A lot of places stayed open. People still continue to go out. Deaths have not risen. But what I was getting at, sorry I got sidetracked. As soon as you let people out in the US, the numbers are going to go up. So even if you kept everybody inside for 10 years and said no one can ever go outside again, no more shopping at Walmart, no more haircuts, grow your 6-foot beard, even if you do that, as soon as you let people outside again, what's going to happen? The numbers are going to climb back up again. So it doesn't matter, in my opinion, how long this happens. I don't see how staying inside longer is helping anything. If anything, the longer you stay inside, the more, your body is, I guess, not used to this. And then all of this over sanitizing and over washing of the hands and overspraying of Lysol, etc. I don't feel like any of this stuff is truly helping anyone. If anything, you're hurting yourself. Some germs are actually good. And I say this as someone that suffers from OCD. So I don't know what the proper balance is. I don't know what should be done. But I do believe that the longer you stay inside, it's not only bad for your mental and physical health. I feel like it's hurting your chances of how your body will be able to handle and or deal with this virus. So once again, just to recap this video, I personally don't believe that the coronavirus is as bad as we've been told that it is, based on my own experience within my own country that has over 20 million people that have not been practicing true social distancing, working from home, but then going outside and partying and shopping, etc., unnecessarily on a day-to-day basis or even weekly basis is not really staying at home, is it? And going to izakayas, hanging out with your coworkers and doing all this other type of stuff and going on dates, despite not following any of the stuff, despite not using hot water, despite not washing their hands properly, despite not wearing masks properly, which is a really big thing people keep talking about, is, oh, Japanese people wear masks. No, they don't. They don't wear it the right way. And if you're not wearing it the right way, it defeats the purpose of wearing it. So, with all of that said, I am left to question and believe, what is this virus really? Is it really what we're told it is? Do people really understand how it works? And is it really benefiting us to stay inside, or is it actually hurting our chances of being able to properly handle or deal with it? Of course, older people with, weakened immune systems, etc., will naturally have issues with this, and they should definitely probably stay inside. But I mean, for the rest of us, is this really going to help us? And I say this as someone that has both been in close range of someone that I knew had the virus, as well as has had pneumonia. Again, no expert here, but just going based on my own personal experiences. I don't know. So when I look at how poorly my country's handled it, how much they've covered up, hidden stuff, not tested, not provided us with things that we need, and then I look at a country like the US that was kind of doing that at first, but then, for lack of a better word, I know you're going to kill me, in my opinion, overreacted, imposed too many new rules, too many new laws, tried to lock everybody up, close everything down, but still has numbers that are not only climbing, but deaths that are climbing. Japan's numbers are climbing too, trust me. The problem is that Japan is not testing people. So you might have it and won't know it. And of course, just like in the US, except on an even bigger scale, Japanese people don't want to get tested for that. Because it'll be embarrassing. People will be afraid to be around you. People might not want to rent to you, work with you, etc. And the doctors here suck, but that's another story. There's not even enough beds or, private rooms for people that, can actually isolate if you do get this virus. So it won't help, the people here. And they don't want to know that they have it, just like how they do in the US. So again, putting people inside, the numbers are going to change because people are going to stop going out, which also means they're not going to go out to get tested either. So even if they do have it, they'll just have it at home. And they may or may not know. So that's that. I want to know your opinion though. What do you think? Do you believe the virus is, really just as bad as we're seeing on TV? How are things going in your country? What's your opinion on it? Has what I said kind of changed your mind? And if you don't believe what I'm saying, look into it yourself. Again, I also want to reiterate, the numbers in Japan are low, but I don't believe the numbers are what they say they are. I only believe the deaths. Even if you don't consider the deaths from the virus. They did a survey on typical deaths this time of year compared to last year. And the deaths this year have actually been lower. So that shows that apparently this has had no effect on that. And if anything, people staying inside might have actually kind of helped that. So, and nobody's really truly following these rules. I won't say nobody, there's always someone. But they're not being followed, or abided by like how other countries are doing. So, I don't know what I really think. I believe the virus exists. Let me clarify that. I believe that people are dying from it. I believe that it is life-threatening. I do believe that it is contagious. I don't know whether I believe that it is a man-made virus or something natural. I know that I don't trust China. And I honestly kind of don't trust Vietnam either. I feel like Vietnam has handled the virus similarly to Japan, except they were a little more, rough with it early on. But I don't buy their numbers either. They claim that everyone that had the virus recovered from it. Come on now. So, back on subject. Or almost everyone that had it recovered from it, I should say. Or was it everyone? I think it was everyone that had it recovered from it. So maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure. But anyway, it doesn't sound right to me. And my boyfriend is living in Vietnam. So this is not just me talking about what I think about other countries. So just wanted to clarify that before you get angry. So I'm done. Again, just giving you my own 2 cents. I know I made a lot of people upset, but try not to get into your feelings. I am totally okay with you disagreeing with me. I don't even know if I'm going to bother to argue with people in the comments about this. I'll just let you think or believe whatever you want to. I'm going based on where I live, comparing it to my friends and family in the US, and based on what I've seen in the news in other countries. I have mixed feelings about how beneficial, helpful, useful lockdown, state of emergencies, closures have been, and working from home has really been to handling and dealing with this virus. I don't believe that it's as bad as people are saying it is, and I don't believe that this whole stay-at-home thing is truly flattening any curve or helping anything. People are just going to avoid testing because now they've become paranoid, and now it's harder to do. If you're staying at home, why would you be going out to get a test? How do you get sick? So it doesn't stop the virus from existing, does it? As soon as everyone goes back out, they all get it again anyway. We've seen this with other states and cities that have, ended their lockdowns, and then their numbers skyrocketed again. So I feel like, I don't know, maybe herd immunity, whatever the term was, maybe that is a thing, because Japan did something weird out of all of this. So that's that. And again, I also want to clarify, I'm not a Japan worshiper. As you heard me say in this video, I criticized and critiqued Japan. They are not doing what they should have been doing. They knew about it before a lot of people. They've lied about the numbers. They've lied about tests. They aren't testing people. They don't have preparations in place for neither their staff or their physical hospitals. This whole thing has been a mess how it was handled. However, despite how messy they've handled it, it didn't result in deaths. And to be honest, they still don't care about the people. They're reopening the economy, not because they think it's not bad, but because they need money and they're afraid of going under and losing their place in the world. They have the third largest economy, if I recall, in the entire world, following behind China and the US. So they can't afford this. They've already lost the 2020 Olympics, which they fought to keep, and only began talking about the virus going up after the Olympics were, taken away, which took Canada basically saying that their players will not be competing. And then finally Japan was like, oh, okay, fine, we'll do it next year. And then suddenly, hey, look at this. 200 people have the virus in Tokyo. And it's like, oh, please. This been existed. So it took a month and a half after, or was it 2 months, after you were told about this, that then suddenly, all of a sudden out of nowhere, now the virus exists in Japan. It's everywhere. It's not just on the Yokohama cruise ship. So people are so easily brainwashed and manipulated by the media here. The media could tell them anything and they'll believe it. Like, the people here really believe, they've had news articles saying it. They really believe that Japan has handled the situation better than the US, and their numbers are low because they're doing testing and they're practicing social distancing. And it's like, oh, please. So, whatever. That's that. I can go on forever. Tell me what you think. Tell me about your home country. I want to know. I want to hear. So again, as I've already said, this is my opinion. I'm no doctor. I'm not encouraging you to defy the laws of your governor or, your president, whatever. Do what you're supposed to do. Just kind of take a step back and think for yourself instead of passing on tweets and memes that you've seen from other people and articles. Think for yourself and do your own research. Make your own opinions. So that's that. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and leave a comment down below telling me what you think. I would also appreciate it if you would like my Facebook page, and I have an Instagram, Twitter account that you can also follow, and you can add me on Snapchat as well. The links for everything that you need are down in the description box below. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll watch another video. Bye.